I want to share with you a quick and easy way to spot when a seller is potentially or very likely hiding problems in their business that's for sale. And this comes from evaluating businesses with people for over a decade at this point. And the easiest way to spot a problem is whenever you are asking a seller a question about their business for sale, they answer with the word average. Now, a lot of times when buyers ask this question, they think in their minds, almost subconsciously, that the word average means close, and it doesn't. And I promise you, the seller is not using it in that way either. So for example, let's say you were to ask the seller how many hours a week they're working. They say on average 40. Well, a lot of times people or buyers will think, well, that just means 35 to maybe 45, something like that. That's not what they mean. A lot of times they will hide a lot of problems with that. And here's what I would do to solve that. So first off, we need to think about the idea that a bell curve basically has one side that we want to be on more so than the other. So if I say bell curve average of your IQ is 100, well, we want to be on the smart side, not the dumb side, right? If we say our average salary or income is $100,000 a year, we want to be on the $200,000 a year side, not the $0 a year. So for example, whenever a seller will say, hey, on average, I work 40 hours a week, you need to determine where the ends of those bell curves are. How far out do they go? So for example, if he is saying I work 40 hours on average, and sometimes he's working 0 hours a week, which everyone wants to work 0 because no one wants to work. And sometimes he's working 80 hours a week, and you're not prepared to work 80 hours a week, you're going to have some real big problems. And so same thing happens whenever, let's say, for example, you ask what he pays his employees, and he says, oh, $800 a week. And we say, oh, okay, $800 a week on average sounds pretty good. Sounds reasonable. Well, if half the time his drivers, employees, whatever, are getting $1,600 a week, and the other half are getting 0 because it's his friends, it's his family, it's himself. They're all working for $0 a week. And you get into this situation and you realize, hey, your friends don't want to work for $0 a week. You don't want to work for $0 a week. And you can't go and fix this problem by cutting the paychecks of all the drivers and all the employees that are making $1,600 a week. You cut it down to $800. You've got all hell that will break loose. So anytime that you hear the word average in an answer that a seller has provided, you need to find out how far out the tails of that bell curve go that is creating that average. Because if you don't know how far out they're going to go, you're going to find out after you've bought the business, and that's not when you want to find out. So hopefully this helps out a whole bunch. Take care, subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.